By popular demand, Spirit Halloween Part 2. First things first, this is Sandy, and he does not want pets, but he does want your attention. He's probably going to be in and out of this room the whole time. But yeah, by show of the comments, I am making a Part 2 to let you know what it was like to be employed there from October 9th to today, which is October 31st. And for those of you that don't know, today is my editor Charles' birthday. Please say thank you to Charles, because it's going to be too late for his happy birthday when this comes out. But a lot has gone down since I recorded that video, and I will break it down as such. 1, just some clarifying notes from my original video. 2, somewhat gauche details about some other things about how the store has been run. And then 2 low-key wild stories. Then I will be talking about what it was like to work yesterday, the day before Halloween, and today, Halloween, because it was really freaking busy. I had to write stuff down. Oh, thank you to all my coworkers. One of my coworkers, whom I absolutely adore, found my channel, shared my video with everyone else, and thankfully everybody liked it. That was really nice. Thank you guys, I love you. I have had a lovely experience with all of you. It's been us against the customers 6 out of 7 nights a week. Oh, the other clarifying detail I gotta give is I have been dressing up every shift I've been on for the past week, because it's Halloween week. I was Coraline, I was an accountant, I was a witch, which I don't have any really great pictures of, and then I was Mira today for the big day. We did get more K-pop demon hunters costumes in our next truck, and I believe the following truck. They would not stay on the shelves. By the time I recorded that video, the next time I was in the store, Zoe costumes were gone. We had roomy wigs for a hot second, and we got restock of all the girls, but for the longest time, the only thing we had was a size large girls Mira costume and then some bucket hats that said Huntrix. You could not keep them on the shelves. I redirected so many parents to try buying an Elsa wig with purple hairspray. For the ones that were like, I just need a wig. I just need a wig for her. Do something like this. I would just be like, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you. So yeah, that's what it was like with the K-pop demon hunters, frenzy and fury. Starting, I think 2 weeks ago, the giant cardboard displays that we all built, those are being sold off for what some might describe as pennies compared to the labor that went into building them. I don't understand how it's working, but there are chunks of the subway car going at a time. 135 bucks. You mean to tell me this entire giant structure is $135? No, I think it's pieces, and I don't know how, but the one piece of the car that did not sell, it's October 31st. If it sells tomorrow or the next day, so be it. But there is this handle that when you pull it, it makes a sound like if a robot farted, and that's the only sound I have grown very tired of over the past 6 to 8 weeks. Hate it. All the other animatronics, who gives a hoot? All the other insane songs on the corporate playlist, I don't care. I've grown to really love them. Shout out to Ow by Lovecraft. Love that one. I think that is actually when things started to really change in the store. When the cardboard and the display and all the foam decorations, that's when the change happened. And they're selling off everything. You know that clip of Jack the Reaper with the big subway display? Right over Jack's left shoulder, there's a sign in the distance that says That Halloween Life. That thing is being sold. They're selling everything they possibly can. That's when we switched to Black Friday numbers every day of the week. It felt like the day the Cloud9 opened after the tornado episode in Superstore, because this is my Superstore experience, and I'm Mateo because it's my life and I'm a main character, and I simply just have to begin. We get a formal message from our boss in the store Discord, because the stores run on Discord, for the record, which has worked really well, but if you're a grown-up like me, that's crazy. And then the next time I came in on shift, there were also pieces of paper from corporate that said, you are eligible for an extra $3 an hour per shift as long as you work at least 1 minimum shift on these key dates. And those dates were the Saturday and Sunday before Halloween, and then 2 days before Halloween, the day before Halloween, and Halloween itself. And you could only get your $3 an hour shift if you worked all 5 of them. This was not expressed expressly told to me. And if the corporate office is somehow upset about me sharing this information, wah to me, I suppose I will not be getting to work there next year, something I have not decided if I want to do. But I'm pretty sure this is all actually just to sell as much as possible, have as many bodies in the store, and prevent as much loss prevention as possible during the craziest time of the year, the very small year that Spirit Halloween has in person. You need as many people for headcount, and every store tries their best to make headcount for reasons. Here's where I'm like, I don't understand, because it's like store managers get a bonus if they make headcount every day for the headcount days. And of course our regional manager is going to get a bonus if so many of his stores end up getting their headcount bonus. Why would corporate want to spend that much money? It has to be because they're like, it doesn't matter. We're printing money, and more people means more money and less loss. And I say all that because my store manager had to hire a bunch of new people in order to make headcount and make the schedule work. I'll skip ahead to a second and say yesterday, the day before Halloween, I met a young lady who was there on her first shift, which is nuts. Anyway, one of these headcount days, this is one of the crazy stories. This is about a coworker who one of her very first shifts was a headcount day, and we're gonna call her Pearl. I'm gonna start using a lot of fake names because there are 40 characters at my store, and so I'm gonna do my best to give them each a name. So Pearl's first shift, it was kind of a decent day. I was not on register, thank God. And so I got to take my steps in and, reorganize some stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I see Pearl walking around with like one of my other coworker friends for a couple hours. I don't really see Pearl on the floor at all. I see Pearl in backstock a lot, which is crazy because we have basically like nothing left in backstock, and that's like Marcus's job. I'm not a manager who gives a hype. So later in the shift, one of my work besties, whom we will call Pony, is also then like walking around with Pearl. I don't know Pearl's name at this point, for the record. I just know Pearl is a new coworker. And at one point, I am talking to Pearl and Pony, and Pony starts talking about some things, blah, blah, this, that, the other thing, and it comes up in that context that Pony is a manager. Pony is an assistant manager, and that's important to note because maybe 15 minutes later, it's time for me to clock out. So I go to the front of the store, and Pony and our store manager, whom we will call Glinda, they are having a whispered, somewhat quick conversation. I hear Glinda say, well, do you want to tell her or should I? And then Pony says, I really prefer it if you would tell her. And I clock out and I turn to Pony and I say, what's up? Pony says, that girl who we were just talking to for like 2 hours, she just started stuffing things into her pockets. And I said, what are you doing? And then she said, I wish I could remember it exactly. So I get off at 6 o'clock. I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Meet me at this door and blah, 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 blah. And spins very quickly a very detailed plan of how she is going to do high theft from the store, and that plan relies on Pony. And Pony hears this and just goes, I'm a manager. And Pearl goes, so what? And Pony immediately walks away and then goes over to Glinda, and I'm like, that's crazy. And I clock out and I go to get my bag from the back, and I see Glinda approach Pearl, and I swear to God I heard her say, so I'm gonna need you to turn out your pockets. And I got right out of there and I left. I will hear this story tomorrow. I will be here tomorrow. I don't need to know the details, but that was so nuts to me. On her first shift, she's gonna steal from the store and she's gonna collude with the manager to do it. And the 1-2 punch on this is somehow Pearl was not terminated on the spot. I learned the next day from my lovely coworker Garrett that in the opening shift, Pearl is on the schedule. He was not here for the theft as well. So Garrett has no idea that Pearl tried to rob the store yesterday. They open, things or whatever. The regional manager is there because we had some crazy incidents the night before. Garrett's doing whatever. He does his rounds. He walks around and then he goes into the back to pay his vape. He gets back there and Pearl has taken multiple cans of the silly string from backstock, product that has not yet been sold, that she did not purchase, and she is spraying it all over the walls and into the men's restroom. He immediately turns around, nopes right out of that, and goes to walk out, and he's like, I gotta tell a manager. And who should he walk into first but our regional manager, Jeff? And he's like, you gotta check this out. And 10-15 minutes passes. Jeff, our regional manager, comes up to Garrett and says, so Pearl just told me that you told her to open open all those cans and you told her that that was okay. And you gave her instructions on how to steal things from the store. Garrett's like, hell no. I went back there because I did my rounds and I was going back there to hit my vape in the men's room as I am one to do. And I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I am being transparent with you right now. And that's how you know I am telling the truth. And Jeff goes, okay. He goes to Pearl. And to my knowledge, he says, you are never to step foot in a Spirit Halloween again. You are terminated effective immediately. You have to leave. That was one of the biggest dramas. It was very entertaining. I still cannot believe that it happened. That very same shift where I learned all of this from Garrett and other characters who were present on the scene. No, this was the next shift. It was the next shift. Oh. This was 2 days ago. It's usually busy from like 3:30 to about 7:30 or 8. So it's a little bit heavier foot traffic than normal. It's like maybe a Sunday at 4 p.m. level of foot traffic. I'm walking around, I'm doing my thing, and this dude comes up to me and he starts saying something about some costumes. I wish I could remember because he cuts himself off mid-sentence after he like looks to the side like that. And he goes, hey, I'm actually loss prevention. I am manager of the Ethel Park store. I'm here as a favor to Jeff to do some loss prevention, and I have seen that girl put something in her bag. He says it in a way that he's like, she has a bag full. You know, I'm like, oh, this is the moment. There's so much procedure about when a guest is stealing. Because the tea on this, again, the corporate office is not gonna love it, but if the corporate office is seeing this, you guys should be so happy about the free publicity. The thing is, you have to have more than one person see them take it. Furthermore, you cannot apprehend that person. A police officer has to, and it has to be certain financial amount for them to be able to press any sort of charges. So he's seen her put things in her bag. He needs someone else to see her put things in her bag so that way he can get to the police call because he's certain she's well past the threshold. It gets out pretty quickly in a hushed way, and Honey ends up being the person that sees her put the last pair of green opera gloves into her bag. And then the manager from the other store, whom we'll call Tim, he goes and he calls. When that is happening, there are 3 people unregistered and there's people everywhere walking around the store, but you cannot take 2 steps without being within an arm's radius of every other employee of the Spirit Halloween. And that is actually the first time I have seen us all work since the unpacking inventory day. I don't mean that to be so shady, but if you were there that shift, you absolutely know we were on the move. Because most of the time, we don't really have much to do besides walk around and be bored and mentally shop. We had a directive. It was like every single one of us had a switch flip that said, monitor the situation. And then police get there, and they wait for her to make the move to leave, and she goes through that exit, and there's cops there. They get her, but she is one of 5 people in a group. 3 of her 4 other friends run and abandon her. Only one friend stays back to be with her. Then there's this whole process of everything in her bag that looks like merch, we have to prove she stole by finding the packaging. If she had a bag full of packaged costumes, she's getting caught, but she doesn't think she's a spring chicken, so she emptied all the bags in the store and left them in various places. But as I mentioned, everyone has been circulating nonstop, so that stuff is found pretty quick, and she got arrested. Once she made it to the cops, I was like, my job is done. And some girl pulls me aside. It's like 2 girls. One is talking to me and really invested and interested in getting me to certain areas of the store to look at things, but isn't really interested in like any of the actual costumes or the sizing of them. At the last second, I'm like, why are you being weird? And her friend comes up, she goes, hey, I need to talk to you. They talk in hushed tones. I leave them. And that's when I start circulating again and see just piles of merch thrown in places, shoved in stuff. All these other people who were robbing the store and then saw the cops and then emptied their bags. It was perhaps thousands of dollars in every corner of the store. Like poison ivy costumes in the little boys section. The only place I didn't find stuff, outdoor decor, which there's not really a camera over there, so you guys are dumb. But that was absolutely nuts. Those are the craziest things, like the craziest stories that happen. And the other things that are crazy that have happened aren't necessarily stories. Yesterday, the line was so long, it went completely like through the maze of the checkout line. line, and then all the way back past home decor. There were so many people in the store, we couldn't even like walk around and circulate. We just couldn't do anything. So most of us ended up just standing in front of like the fog and light display, a place no one was actively shopping. And then if they needed help, they would come up and be like, do any of y'all work here? There's 5 of us with spirit aprons on, so yes. And we basically just take turns helping people. It was nuts. When I wasn't standing with everyone, because I had to stop doing what I was doing, which was trying to organize all of makeup, and I did get through 2 sides of 1 H frame, but people were stepping on me and pushing just so that way they could get to the makeup that I had in my hand. I am a person capable of language and basic communication skills, and you could say like, hey, can I get one of those crayons? Hey, do you recommend these lashes? Or can you excuse me? No, that was rough. Today, I was starting to organize the skeleton wall, which is what Glinda asked me to do, and they were like, no, we need you on register. The registration did not stop until the end of my shift. When I had to say, my shift has ended, may I please go? My manager at that time said, yeah. The craziest thing about today was the Monroeville store did not make headcount. So like all of my best friends had to go to Monroeville and I had to stay. I also will say about today, everyone purchasing their full Halloween geesh on Halloween, October 31st. 1 in 3 persons was someone who had to then log into their bank and transfer money before they could make a purchase, which I suppose I kind of get, because if you are someone stressed about money, why would you go out and get the Halloween costume immediately? Probably have other stressors going on, so they are doing things at the last minute. Those other 2 out of the 3 though, screw you guys. I do have 2 more shifts left. One is going to be on November 2nd, when I'm sure people will be very behaved, when the entire store is 50% off. And then I'm supposed to be there for 1 inventory packing day. It's been interesting. I'm really disappointed with how many Skeleboners we've sold, which is many. I guess the next thing would be like, I'm really grateful to everyone that liked my other video, but I will not be milking this for more and more views, and maybe I'll do a trip to Spirit of Christmas. I don't know if I'll go back next year because I don't know if my life will allow for it. This year something was going on in my professional life that I was available 3 days a week to work a substantial size shift, and this was a lifetime achievement for me. I've been successfully hired at Spirit Halloween twice prior to this, and this was the first time I could actually accept the job. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment and maybe consider subscribing. Would you like to donate the remaining 17 cents for Spirit of Children? All proceeds go to UPMC Children's Hospital right here in Pittsburgh. Thank you so much. All sales are final. Bye.